Hi Nerd Nation, this is Mr. John, and today we're going to be talking about this. "51 years ago, on July 21st, 1969, two American astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, set foot on the moon. They were the very first two people to ever do it. And this outfit is a replica or a copy that I had built of what their spacesuit would have looked like on the Apollo 11 moon mission. To keep the astronauts safe in space and to allow them the ability to walk around outside, scientists had to create a suit that was like a spacecraft for the body. And so the A7L is what we call the Apollo mission suit. It's made up of a series of valves that let in cold air and cold water and get rid of the warm air and the warm water. It's got pouches all over it, including this huge one on the leg right here. It's got a bathroom built into it. A bag would be placed inside of here with a valve that would connect to the suit. And when the astronauts had to go to the bathroom, they went to the bag, they took it out, and left it on the moon. They thought of everything. I've got my astronaut ID that I made for my spacesuit. This wouldn't be on the spacesuit when they were out in space, but it just adds to the whole entire outfit, so I had one made. What you see me wearing right now is called the Snoopy cap, and it was the radio communications cap that the astronauts wore in the spacecraft and in their spacesuits. Their helmet fit over this, and it got the name Snoopy because the shape of the communication ears on the side looked like Snoopy's ears from the Peanuts comic strip. And Snoopy became the official mascot of NASA, working on their Gemini program, the Apollo program, and the Skylab program. The gloves that they wore were really a feat of engineering because you had to have a suit that was pressurized, but you also had to be able to protect them from heat and cold and still allow them to be able to grab things and do their job on the moon. Now the insides of the gloves have valves that are marked red and blue, left and right. So this way, if oxygen gets low in the spacecraft and they're looking and they can't tell what it is, hopefully they'll remember what the colors mean. It was just another thing to help keep things safe. On this glove we have Neil Armstrong's instructions sewn to the side of the glove here. Every astronaut had their own set of instructions sewn to the glove. I chose to use Armstrong's for my glove. On the other glove we have a dial face watch. Most people don't know how to read these days. But back then, astronauts had a gauge telling them how much air was in their life support pack. But astronauts preferred to know how much time they really had. So having a watch was essential to knowing how much time you had left in your air supply. Now the glove was made of a steel mesh microfiber. I can't afford that, so a seamstress and I worked together and made this using ironing board cloth. And then we took some work gloves and pushed them through and mounted them on the inside. And my hand just does fit inside of there. There we go. Boom. Space hands. Moon boots. Now, these aren't real moon boots. These are super cold weather type shoes, which is pretty close to what they used on the moon. You notice it's got the printing for things on here, just like a government item would have. The blue on the outside would have actually been a removable liner. And so these were left on the surface of the moon. The gray part and the laced up part would have stayed with the suit when they came up. But I couldn't do all that, so I just painted these to approximate the look of the actual moon boots. And these suckers are heavy. This is the PLSS, the Portable Life Support System. It's got some instructions printed here on the very back with an access patch at the bottom. It's got the American flag up here on the reserve part of the unit. It's got an access valve. It's got another one over here on the other side. And it's even got the radio antenna mounted to the back. And notice it's very flat and very thin. Mine is made out of 2 cardboard boxes, and I kept this part open so I could store my gloves, and I could store my Snoopy cap, and I could store other items in here and not have to worry about where they are. Everything stays together with my suit. One of the hardest things to replicate on the Apollo moon suit is the helmet, because the helmet is so big. You see the size of the neck ring here on the spacesuit. The helmet would mount to this ring in real life, and it would be a glass dome that went over the whole head, Snoopy cap included, and then the visors were on a shroud that went over all of that. And there were at least 2 visors. There was the smoky visor, which is what I have, and then there was a visor painted with gold that went on the outside of that. And that was in case they were facing the sun. The gold visor would actually protect them from the intense sunlight. And then the shroud also had pull-down sun visors, like you have on your car. But these would go down the sides right here. But I built this using a special kind of paper and cloth and repainting an old astronaut helmet until I can hopefully build one that looks more like the real Apollo 11 suit. One of the other things that I built and am still working on is the front control box for the PLSS. And it's got your talk dial right here, so when the guys are ready to talk, they would switch it back and forth. It's got some side controls over here that were just used for regulating the airflow. It's got a connection for the airflow. It's got some dials here on the top that set the different modes for the fan and things like that. Astronauts had to have full control of their suit. And so this box sitting right here allowed them to do it. And then this funny metal spoon kind of looking thing here was actually a mount for a camera. And on Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong had a camera mounted to his chest, and it was fixed to this box right here. So that would have gone right there. Well, my suit is just a costume, and it's one very thick layer of canvas duck cloth. The real Apollo suit would have had 13 layers to it, and it would have been about 1/4 of an inch thick. That's a lot of stuff. And materials like Dacron and stuff like that would have been layered together with aluminum and a mesh for the water and other things. A lot went into making these, and it was all sewn by hand. That's the other thing. So if anything was wrong, that suit couldn't be used. But they did it all by hand to make sure it did stay right. Now, if this had been the real Apollo 11 moon landing suit, with the helmet, with the gloves, with the Snoopy cap, with the moon boots, with the PLSS, with the chest pack, everything all together would have weighed about 180 pounds on Earth. And then Neil Armstrong, the astronaut, also weighed about 180 pounds. So in total, you're looking at 360 pounds that someone's carrying around on Earth. That's a lot. On the moon, though, that's just 60 pounds. So you see those guys bouncing and so forth. That's part of the reason why they hardly weigh anything when they're on the moon. Now, the suit was built with so many layers and was built to be thick because it had to protect against radiation. And there were just a lot of things they didn't know about the moon with the first landing. What kind of dust was on there? How deep was it? Would it get into their systems? So more layers offered more protection. Plus, the temperature on the moon goes 280 degrees below zero in the shade and over 270 degrees in the sunlight. So your suit had to be able to take a whole lot of stuff. And these things were tough. Whew. And here we have the full outfit on. Wow, it gets warm in here. But it's really cool too. I hope you enjoyed this tour of my cosplay spacesuit, the replica of the Apollo 11 moon landing suit. And if you have questions about it, drop them in underneath in the comments. If you make a spacesuit, I want to see it. So put it in the comments too. And let us know what else you want to see in the future with Nerd Nation. This is Mr. John. Bye.